You're looking at the Epomaker QK81, one of the most feminine keyboards that I have had the chance to review. This also has a black and green version, which I think is a good contrast to this white-pink girly looking colorway. Hi, this is Daniel with the Biboyharanero team. We review keyboards, mice, microphones, anything PC related. Subscribe so you're always updated on new product releases. The Epomaker QK81 is a gasket-mounted tri-mode mechanical keyboard, and by tri-mode, I mean this connects via wired USB-C, 2.4G, and Bluetooth, all powered by a 4000 mAh battery pack inside. This can connect to up to 5 devices at once, toggleable by the switch at the top side of the keyboard. And again, as a gasket-mounted keyboard, this will have some level of bounce to it and shock absorption. If you haven't tried a gasket-mounted keyboard before, this really gives off a very cushiony typing feel versus a stiff feel on tray-mounted keyboards. This has a really huge knob made of aluminum by the top right side of the keyboard. It is the #1 standout feature in terms of aesthetics. I might harvest the knob and keep it for myself. Anyhow, being a wireless keyboard, so far I did not experience any delays or interferences while in use. It felt really responsive, especially for gaming. This will perform in both casual settings or competitive gameplay. Plus, this has a polling rate of 1000 Hz and an all-key anti-ghosting or NKRO. My unit came with the flamingo switches, which by default sound clacky. Later, we will explore how the keyboard sounds. The switches has 47-gram springs inside, which I think is just right for gaming and typing. Light enough for quick presses and heavy enough to avoid typos. In the event you don't like these switches, freely replace them with your preferred ones because this has a full universal hot swap south-facing PCB that accepts 3-pin or 5-pin switches. On to software. This is VIA compatible, so no other software needs to be downloaded for this keyboard. VIA is one of the most widely used keyboard softwares out there, and you get key binding, macro recording, and RGB light customization. Basically everything you will need to customize your keyboard. Inside the box, you get the keyboard, cable, key puller combo, extra switches, and documentation. I have to say, I was hoping for a dust cover, just like that of the G84 and EA75. The cable is a braided cable with shiny fabric, the usual, but of higher quality versus plastic rubber coated cables. The keyboard weighs about 850 grams, which is relatively heavy, and my standard is about 700 grams for 75% layout. And this goes beyond that, all thanks to its sturdy plastic housing paired with lots of dampers within. Here's an exploded view of the layers of this keyboard, so pause the video if needed and take a closer look. One key damper within is the bottom silicone padding, which adds to the overall weight of the keyboard due to its density and capacity to absorb vibrations. Underneath the keyboard, you get anti-slip pads and a pair of 2-level kick-up feet for angle adjustments. On the top side of the keyboard is where you will find the OS switch, connectivity switch, and USB-C input. The storage port for its wireless dongle is found by one of its kick-up feet. Overall, for a budget keyboard, I have no complaints on the build quality. I'm also not surprised with what I see. Now on to the keycaps. You get double-shot PBT keycaps in cherry profile. Cherry profile is my favorite keycap profile due to its low, flat-ish nature. It's not at the level of low-profile keycaps, but it somehow, in some way, emulates it. My fingers feel the most comfortable typing on cherry profile. Onto the stabilizers, they're fairly placed tightly on the positioning plate. I wouldn't modify this any further. However, I would add more dielectric grease. And that's pretty much it in terms of stab modifications. The switches we have here, again, are the flamingo switches, and these have 47-gram springs and naturally sound clacky. This features a palm stem, which should, in some way, add to the overall smoothness of the switch. And I should say, I think palm plastic actually does improve the keystroke smoothness. Oh, by the way, before I forget, these are pre-lubricated switches, and here is how they sound. This is offered in 2 colorways. You get the black green and white pink. The white pink that we have here looks very feminine, one that I think would suit women better. Duh. The black one with green prints look really good too. The green looks more like lime. The keyboard, in terms of aesthetics, look pretty much straightforward. Nothing out of the ordinary aside from the fat knob and rounded edges and corners. Overall, contrast on the white-pink variant is very light. I personally prefer more contrast on my keyboards to see the legends better. And speaking of legends, they're bigger than usual, so at least that was a relief. No light indicators are found anywhere, but caps lock and win lock shines a static white LED when activated. You get the light bar by the arrow keys, and not sure why it looks like that though. You cycle through its modes with the function function key and page up. And since we're already talking about lights, let's go over RGB. I think this is where the keyboard shines. Literally shines. The LEDs shine fairly brightly, and this too has lots of RGB modes. Press the function key and backslash to toggle RGB modes. I personally would just turn it off as it makes the keyboard simpler and you save more battery. But if you're an RGB fan, yep, this will satisfy you guys. However, the keycaps aren't shine-through, so this may be an issue for some. Shine-through keycaps are pretty cheap anyways that you could get online. So there's that. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. I will leave links in the description on where to get your Epomaker QK81. This is Daniel with the Biboyharanero team. Do not subscribe.